Real Gaming, coming at y'all with another video, and we are on egmanevents site here to use the information that he has posted up to kind of go over the Digimon regionals real quick. Once again, always big shout out to egmanevents for always him and his team posting a lot of these tournament results on their site for all of us to be able to enjoy and go over. And if you have not had the chance to go over this tournament yet from this past weekend, then you are in the right place because I will go over it with you. But with all that out of the way, the Los Angeles regionals did take place this past weekend, hosted by Core TCGs, and I didn't get to watch the stream for Digimon. I don't know if Digimon had a stream. I know that a team of people did do a stream for the Uni Arena. I didn't see one for Digimon, but with that out of the way, I am a little disappointed about that, but that's okay. But this is a very, very interesting tournament results because you can see here a big newcomer on the pie chart is the Rocks deck. If you don't know what this is the Rock/Mineral trait deck. It did get a brand new card in the last EX10 set, being the big level 7, and he is really good and really strong, and he's done a lot to help make this deck a nice probably surprise in this event. I'm sure a lot of people did not do a lot of testing into the Rock/Mineral deck, and I think that this is a great showing of like how you can take a deck that is probably newer and a lot of people maybe aren't seeing as one of the best decks in the format, and taking it to a big tournament and doing really well with it, because a lot of people probably don't know what you're doing. But I do think a majority of people did know that Rocks would probably be good, but probably not expecting to get 4 tops in the top 16. I imagine there would probably be 1 or 2, so I am very surprised and happy to see this. But 4 of the Rock decks, 2 of the Machinedramon, so we've been seeing the DM trait Machinedramon decks kind of taking a hold on, a lot of players. There are big fans for Machinedramon, and there always has been a lot of diehards for it, so I love to see Machinedramon getting this love. Obviously, one of my favorite Digimon in the entire game. I love Machinedramon. 2 Galaxy decks and 2 Leviamon X's. These 3 being decks that we saw get tops in the last regional, so no surprise on these here, but I am happy to see that Machinedramon is kind of sticking around, where I was, you may be a little scared that maybe, alright, Machinedramon got a time to shine and maybe it's going away, but people are picking up this deck and having a lot of fun with it, and it's good to see Machinedramon having a place in the meta. And then for the rest of the decks, I'm about to, announce off. If you are, just listening to the video, I'll zoom it in a little bit for people to be able to see a little bit better, is one of each of these: a Red Purple Imperialdramon, a Phoenixmon X, a Genkumon X, a Purple Hybrid, a Gallantmon X, and 1 Omnimon. No surprise from the Gallantmon X, the Omnimon X. In this, I think a lot of people think that these are the 2 best decks in the game at the moment. I have my best bet on Gallantmon as the best deck. I think that the deck still has all the tools available to it to do all the crazy shenanigans that it's used to. Purple Hybrids popping up is really cool. I will be curious to go over this list a little bit. Genkumon and the Phoenixmon, we've seen those top in the last one, and nice to see a Red Purple Imperialdramon, but still no Blue-Green one in this one right here, right? But going down through here, we can see that the first place deck was the Machinedramon DM version 2 Toolbox by Premium MSG. Shout out to you, big time. Love to see a first place Machinedramon. So spoilers, if you didn't know who won, it was Machinedramon. And yeah, I thought it was very interesting that they were all 8-1. All of these through, so it was all tiebreakers rounds, so really any of these players could have been players that got first place, because I don't think they'd have a top cut, right? It was just 9 rounds of Swiss, best of 3, so there was a lot of people in this to get this 8-1, so I guess technically, without the tiebreakers in line, all 6 of these decks technically got first place, but tiebreakers do come in when you do just 9 rounds of Swiss, which is a good way to weed people out. But I do think I want to note and say that out there that all of these top 6 people went 8-1, right? So technically the same record, but different tiebreakers resulting in how they're played. So I want to, all 8 of these decks, really humongous showings. All 6 of these decks, humongous showings. And big shout out to all the players: Footprints, Panda Warlord, Jeff, Intra, and GFG Peaches. Really cool to see. But in second place, the Red Purple Imperialdramon. In third place, Galaxy. In fourth place, Phoenixmon. In fifth place, Leviamon X. In sixth place, Genkumon X. And that is the top 6. All 8-1, which are definitely the decks that stand out. And it is very diverse, right? This is all unique, 6 different deck listings, not one repeat in the top 6, which is awesome to see through, the rounds of Swiss, that all of these decks were able to perform well enough with each other, showing that not one of them just performed crazy above anyone else, right? And all of these are pretty interesting deck builds, all very different. They all do kind of different things, and it's very fun and cool to see that. But below there, you have a plethora of other decks That went 7-1-1, so getting a tie, bringing in 7th place another Galaxy list, 8th place the Purple Hybrid list, 9th place the Rocks list. So one thing to note is that the Rocks did not make it to the top 6, but it still was in the top 32 and had a lot of listings, so showing that the Rock deck probably has some unfavorable matchups in the meta to, get the 2 losses, but still good enough to beat a lot of the other decks. From 10th going on, I'm just going to go straight through the list. 11th, Machinedramon. 12th, Gallantmon X. 13th to find our Omnimon, so 12th and 13th respectively for the Gallantmon X and Omnimon, which are definitely, I think, like 2 of the strongest decks, so very curious to see if these were the ones, probably getting early losses to Magnetic Dramon. If I had to, like, guess or summarize, like, these Rocks decks probably having good matchups to beat some of these upper tier decks early on. In the format. And then 16th place, Leviamon X. Big shout out to all these players here. You can see all their names. The Eggman Events site, they do a great job of showing all their names and the deck lists on here. But just really, really cool, right? So I do want to touch on a couple of different decks, and what better place to start than the Rocks deck, right? I think this would be a pretty cool deck for everyone to look at if you don't know what it does. Most people do run the Ukomon package along with the 2 Sonorizamons, because I do think that kind of helps the deck with consistency, because you really are just trying to get into maybe 1 or 2 big stacks. You really want to set your board up with all your awesome close tamers. I love Close. She's super cool. I love her art style, and the tamers are all really, really strong. 3/3 split and a 2 copies of the 3-drop promo, and then just running a bunch of min boosts. Oh wow, this one only runs 1 min boost. Oh, so they're going 1 min boost, 4 trainings, and 3 of the emblem. This emblem is so strong, and I definitely think is the most important and powerful card that this deck is getting from EX10, above everything else, like above the Magnetic Dramon and above the, line of all the other cards. A very interesting thing to note here is that only 3 of the new Pyramidimon and none of the old one. All of these deck lists are going to be very, very different. I just chose to click on this one, but just to give us some kind of idea about like what these lists are looking like a little bit, right? Going through, don't need to touch on the Leviamon too much, probably. I do want to see if this Machinedramon is also a DM Machinedramon or if it's just classic, and it is. Yeah, it's just running a package of the DM stuff, which I do think you need to do, but then probably way more of the random different level 5 cyborgs that you can play, and then just the Ukomon purple black package on the bottom end. So the Tapermon being the only one, just valuing that, on deletion to draw one, right? You just swing in with the Tapermon, get some free checks off, draw a card, and then trash one of your level 5s to, gain the extra memory, draw a card. I do want to take a look at this purple hybrid list because I'm curious to see what kind of lines they're going through on the play here. The Gabumon Gazi engine with Psychmon just running the 2 different of each of the floodgates, which makes a lot of sense into a lot of your matchups that are a little more annoying. And then the Ukomon package, which is just so powerful in the game, and just adds so much consistency in any deck in the format. We do see that they are running the 2 Arrestramon Superior mode. I do love this card, and it is very powerful, and seeing it find such a good place in Purple Hybrid makes a lot of sense, right? Because it does give you a big body that is just going to have Raid and Piercing to get over something that may be giving you problems in the game. The top end of the Gallantmons, just because you're going to have so many cards in the trash, you might as well use that engine of the cards in trash to give you value. The Nidhogg, just to help gain you more memory, and you're still doing the same shenanigans with the Dustmon, Velgarmon, Kaiserleomon package. Nothing too crazy here. They are running one of the purple BT5 Demonic Disaster. You may delete one of your Digimon to unsuspend one of your purple Digimon. So you delete one of your small guys maybe just to get another swing in, which can be pretty helpful in helping close out games. And probably something your opponent doesn't see coming, right? In a lot of cases. And I just want to touch on Machinedramon. They did win. I'd feel sad to not talk about Machinedramon when it is in its glory here. And you can see this is definitely more of the traditional, what we've seen a lot of other players playing with the Vedamon. I do think that, I'm glad to see this doing so well. I'm upset that I wasn't the one that figured it out. I knew this card was good and I planned on playing with it. And I'm glad to see that, I only had it as a 2-of before all these decks came out in the last couple of regionals. And I think that, everyone else jumping on the 4-of it makes a lot of sense now, because this card is just so good, being able to give you a wall, control, everything you want in the deck. Really, really strong here. I do like the old Digimon Emperor. I have this as one of my decks too. It still slows your opponent down, right? If you don't know what this guy does, it's an older card. When one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon is moved from the breeding area to their battle area, gain 2 memory. for your opponent's turn. And then if any of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon are deleted, you may suspend this turn or draw a card. That's all turns. So it just stifles your opponent from being able to build up another board and pressure you, making the game a lot slower, because a lot of times people want to stay in the back, move up their rookie so they can get their Digivolving effects at level 4s. Well, if you do that now, you're going to have to like wait until you're level 4 to do it, probably wasting a very important Win Digivolving effect and putting you in a not so ideal spot in the game. I do love Digimon Emperor, and then one of the Blackrock Greymon Ace. If I could say there's one big disappointment in this tournament for me, is the performance of Blackrock Greymon Ace not showing up on here, and it's because I do think that the card is not as powerful as people thought it was going to be when it came out. It is really good card, and it's definitely statted out. It has a really, really good effect. But without the Greymon decks having the Greymon X to help reduce Digivolution costs, like every other deck has in the game, right? Every competitive other deck has ways to do these things that Digivolve for free and do all these shenanigans that manipulate memory. But they're too scared to give it to Blackrock Greymon because they don't want him reigning supreme again. Blackrock Greymon got the glory days of winning Worlds on the second Worlds, right? And they just keep putting my boy down. But just from my testing alone, I am a little bit disappointed about the impact this card is making on the game for me as well. I thought it would be more impactful, but at the end of the day, it's just not as... It's still a really good card. Like, I'm not saying the card's not good. It's just not as game-changing as I think myself and a lot of other people thought it was going to be, because at the end of the day, you still are doing more of a control-y kind of aspect in the game. And if you're playing anything War or Greymon related, and they see that you're stuck on a 5, and you haven't played the 1... I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but I feel like they're forcing you to play all the new cards with Blackrock Greymon, and that makes for like a very slower, control-y-ish deck. And I do think that this Blackrock Greymon Ace can find a better spot in like a traditional red build 'em up or Greymon deck, and running it as maybe a 1 or 2 of tech and any deck that can run this color, because then it's just useful in those ends. But very cool to be able to include it in the Machinedramon deck, because we saw a lot of people running, you know, 1 to 2 copies each of the Blitz Greymon Ace and the Puppetmon Ace, and I think the Blackrock Greymon Ace does give you a little bit better of an outlet to get some kind of protection against your opponent doing all kinds of shenanigans. But that is the review. That is going to be the video for this one, going over all these decks. I want to know if you guys were surprised on any of these decks topping. I am surprised to see Machinedramon still doing so well, especially with both of these lists being so different. I am really, really excited about it, though. And then, obviously, we should all be a little surprised about Magnetic Dramon, the Rocks deck, showing up on here. Because if you don't know how to play against this deck, it really can just come out and essentially almost OTK you if you're not prepared for it. And the deck has a lot of really good, outlets of doing it. And it's a very unique deck, right? We don't have another deck in the game that plays quite like Rocks do. But I am super excited about Digimon. We have a very, very healthy, competitive state, and you can tell by the pie chart here that they are so gracious to put on here for us that it is diverse, and we got a lot of good things to look forward to. But please don't forget to leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of y'all hanging out with me today. Peace.